Long overdue. Let's do it. Obscure sword and sorcery movies number 4, Sorceress. The obscure part of the names of these videos I'm making here is getting a little bit more difficult, of course, because these movies are known. They're not obscure. Some of them might be to some people, but let's go ahead and talk about the first one, Sorceress. Here's the cover: woman, manticore, monkey man with an axe. It stars the Harris sisters, who were playmates. This is a Roger Corman vehicle, and it came out in 1992, so right after Conan. Obviously, trying to get on the back of that once again. I like this film. It's not great, but it is saved by a great ending, in my opinion. So let's take a look. It's a prophecy story. Tragon's got to kill his firstborn. He's a turd sorcerer. He's got to kill his firstborn to get some powers from his god Caligara. His wife actually gives birth to twins. They're twin daughters, and she won't tell them which one is the firstborn. That pisses him off. So he uses this guy here with this claw to really mess up her gutty works, giving her a mortal wound. She flees with the babies. He's in hot pursuit. She goes to this peasant's house, dumps off the kids, says, "Raise them as boys. I'm out of here." I bite the bullet, and I'm gone. Tragon shows up, gets stabbed by the peasant's wife, and gets exiled, whatever that means, for 20 years. So he's not going to come back in 20 years. That's pretty convenient for him. I mean, it's better than death, I guess. So the peasant raises up the daughters as sons, and as the 20 years go by, this is what they look like. So they're obviously not boys. They're wearing these little mini skirt like things. Obviously, something's going on in their chest region, and they like to skinny dip naked. But whatever, they think they're boys. So Kronos, their peasant dad, explains a bunch of the situation, that Tragon's back, and you're gonna have to put a stop to him. And along the way, you're gonna meet up with a motley crew. So you're gonna get this red-haired Viking named Balder. His sword looks cool. His helmet's neat. His armor. He looks all right. He's a fun character. He's one of the best characters in the movie. This guy in the back is a freak. He's a satyr. He's a horn dog, and he likes to look at them and make goat noises. Plus, I think he looks like Spencer Rice from Kenny vs. Spinny, if you've ever seen that. So they are now a motley crew of 4. They go into a town where they meet up with this barbarian named, and I don't know why they call him a barbarian. He just, "Oh, you're a barbarian." He seems like a normal dude like anybody else. He gets caught gambling or something, like cheating or whatever, and they have to help him out after this big bar brawl type thing. And he's amazed that when they take off their clothes that they're actually girls, and they don't understand the difference between boys and girls. Well, they obviously need some lessons in that. So there's Tragon. He's back. He's looking a little bit goofier. He's got this sorceress girl with him. They capture Elric, and there's some dude butt there. They're going to put him on a spike, and he's going to slide down this grease pole. The dude watching is like a henchman for Tragon. Obviously someone that needs to be killed later on. They free him, but long story short, they get kind of captured again by one of the Harris, the fancier dressed one there. I don't know the difference of the names. And Elric, they kind of get like this green glow, the magic of Tragon. They start having sex. The other twin, while they're at the camp with the Viking and the satyr, she starts feeling the same sex that the other twin is having. So there's obviously a bunch of horn dog stuff in that. And it's going to pretty much end with this big battle at the end, which makes the movie good. Tragon is going to sacrifice the daughter because he's got them kind of possessed. He's calling upon his god. Balder and the other Harris sister shows up, and there's a bit of a fight. So he does the ground underneath them to fall away. They fall down into a crypt where, as you can see there, where they, of course, Balder drops his sword. Monkey Man picks it up, goes and finds Pando, who is frolicking in a field with these maidens. I guess Balder's sword is important, whatever. But when they're down in the crypt, they start fighting zombies, and it's a cool scene. You've got like some fire pits. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. Zombies come alive. A big battle with the zombies. It's cool. It spills on to outside, where their god is now. They call out to their god, the good guys do, and this manticore shows up in the sky and the stars, and it goes toe to toe with this half snake faced woman, Caligara, in the stars as well. Kind of a god showdown. And so He starts shooting laser beams out of his eyes. There's explosions. You've got this sacrifice that's trying to be taking place. You've got zombies coming up out of the ground, fighting them. It's just an awesome scene. And for me, like I said, it saves the movie completely. He blows up this god's head. And Tragon, of course, is stopped and killed by his daughters. Yay, they're happy. He gets both girls, the barbarian does, and he's going to teach them some lessons on boys and girls. And everything turned out fine. So overall, I do enjoy this film. It is saved by the ending. It's just a neat thing to see all the zombies, the gods in the sky. The sets are okay. The fighting is not fantastic, but it's not terrible. We've seen much worse in these movies. And there's gratuitous boobs for those that enjoy that. Yeah, I like it. I put it in the upper half of kind of sword and sorcery movies, all because of that last scene. So there is Sorceress. The next film that we're going to show is The Warrior and the Sorceress. I got it as part of a DVD 4-pack you can find with Deathstalker movies. Roger Corman, of course. He was uncredited as a producer on it, but this is definitely a Roger Corman movie. So it stars the late David Carradine. And here is the cover. This came out, I believe, in 1984. And there is no way in hell David Carradine ever looked like that right there. This is a badass cover. He's super ripped. He's got a badass sword. He's like killed some sort of like dragon snake monster. And he's got a 4-boobed woman down below him. Badass, right? Ain't no way the movie is even near as cool as this cover, of course. So, what do we have? We've got David Carradine as Cain, who is this wanderer in the planet of Ura, which is a desert planet. He's thirsty. He's wearing a black cloak. He's got an okay sword. He comes across this town. The town has a well, and it's guarded by these goons. Well, he would like to get a sip of water, but the goons stop him. And this other guy runs out as well. Now, they call him the Dark One. If you wear a dark robe, I guess you are a Dark One. Whatever. Stupid. So, thankfully, someone found a great picture of what I'm talking about with the next thing about this film. The set is major foam action. And anywhere that probably anybody touched anything, it broke apart and you can see it all throughout the movie. The sets are junk. Some of the interior sets are better. I believe they're probably the same sets that were used in Deathstalker. But anything outside has just got major foam factor and is otherwise trash. So David Carradine is okay in this role. Nobody's really likable. So what's going on? There's 2 factions fighting over this well, and he pits each of the factions against each other. He's known for his great sword fighting skills, and so he's got some sway here in town, and he's just pitting these 2 against each other. And here they are. Here you got this kind of big fat guy and this other dude, and they're turds in the movie. There's also a 3rd faction of slavers, who of course bring slaves to the town. And they're all, of course, they want this well. So here's a great shot. David Carradine working this guy over, playing him for a fool. And there's some treachery involved with the slavers and an attack on them, blaming the other faction for it, yada, yada, yada. Now, Anthony DeLongis is in this movie. He is a great actor. I've always enjoyed him in films. He's done tons of movies, lots of TV. He even does a lot of weapon stuff in movies currently. He's kind of like a henchman, right-hand man who you know is going to go toe-to-toe with Cain at some point in the movie, and he always brings it. I've always enjoyed seeing him in a movie. So he's in it, and he's cool. So big fat guy, he's got this lizard creature. So we've got one monster. We can check that off. It sits on his shoulder and whispers and stuff in his ear, but it's wearing clothes. It's kind of cool. I was like, okay, cool, there's a monster. That's a +1 for this film. But he's obviously some sort of friend of this, I don't know, pet of this one guy here. So, of course, Cain is going to show off his prowess. He's got some cool throwing daggers. He fights a bunch of dudes that are guarding the well, and he gets what he wants. These guys here have had a better day. So his one buddy's getting stabbed in the chest, and Cain's cut off the other guy's arm, the guy who stabbed him. You can see the sword is pretty much trash looking, but Cain's pretty happy with himself. He's giving this guy a hand, and yeah, overall, pretty decent. The fight scenes are okay. I mean, Dumb David Carradine, he broke his right hand over some woman before the filming of this movie, so his right hand is in a cast, and he had to learn how to use a sword with his left hand. He does an okay job with his left hand, but his mouth is always open and opening up when he's fighting. He looks like he's like a dying fish when he's fighting. He's obviously very winded and stuff, but he gives it his all. But none of the characters are they're very likable, even David Carradine's character. There is a sorceress in the movie. All she can really do is be topless throughout the whole movie. All the women in the movie are topless. And she can make the Sword of Ura, which is a sword that's pretty badass. That can just cut straight through metal or rock, but there's no point in it. His sword kills guys just as good as the Sword of Ura, but of course she's going to make that sword for him. She's she's held captive by one of the other turds, and David Carradine, of course, is going to spring her and help her. So along the way, they come across this tentacle monster that's in this dungeon-like thing. It's pretty cool. Tentacles come up out of the ground. This is one of the best shots I could find of it online. It's got a bunch of eyes. It's got a bunch of teeth. But hey, it's a second monster. So these two things, in my opinion, are the best things in the movie. You've got two monsters in it. Awesome. So they kidnap the little lizard guy who actually can walk. It's obviously a dude like in a suit. They're pitting the two sides against each other. The slavers show up as well. They're a force to be reckoned with. Dudes in masks. You're not really sure if that's just a mask or their flesh is all messed up. Then you have your big battle. David Carradine takes it on to Anthony DeLongis' character, puts him down. He's got the Sword of Ura now. As you can see, it's all bloody. And he saves the day. It's pretty ho-hum. I put this in the lower half of sword and sorcery movies. It does have two monsters. It's got David Carradine, who is not doing his best work. It's got terrible sets, like I said, and some okay fight scenes. Anthony DeLongis is, of course, great in it. So David Carradine, Anthony, monsters, and it's just gratuitous boobs all throughout it. So it's not fantastic. So our third movie is The Barbarians, Warriors, Conquerors, Heroes. I have this in a 2-pack. This is all that I had before. It comes with the Norseman, and this is a terrible DVD. It's absolutely trash. This movie's from 1983, and it stars the Barbarian brothers. Their names are like Paul and David. That's it. Peter Paul and David Paul. So double first names, and they are the Barbarian brothers. And this DVD is trash. So I was very happy to find that they made a Blu-ray of it. And I recently picked this up to watch it, and it is so much better quality-wise than DVD. This should just probably be thrown away. Much better transfer. You can actually see some of the scenes they're super dark in the DVD. This is the one you want to pick up, which, of course, again, they're starting to make more movies in Blu-ray. So I never thought this one would actually get that treatment, but there we have it. So, The Barbarians. 1987. It actually, with the Blu-ray, it looks like it's actually like maybe a movie that was made in the 90s or early 90s. And I like this film. So let's take a look at what's going on in the movie. So you've got these kind of circus performer type people. They're on a caravan on this plain, and they are enjoying life. They're doing fire breathing. They're all sorts of motley crew of people. They are led by this lady named Canary, who has a ruby that has like their power or something that lets them travel through lands. Whatever. The story here is very kind of rough when it comes to this ruby. So they're having a great time. There's two twin boys. They're in this caravan. Well, as they're going, they get attacked by this guy, Richard Lynch. He's passed away, and I've always enjoyed him as well. He always plays a bad guy because of his face, which, I mean, you use what you got, right? So he's got this motley crew of jerks that attack them on this caravan. The scene is actually very good. It's a great fight scene. I believe this was filmed in Italy. I could be wrong. It's got a great score to it. They're attacking them. It almost has kind of like a Mad Max quality to it, like Road Warrior type thing, where they're being attacked on horseback. They're fighting back off their caravan, doing their fire breathing, throwing their axes or like their little throwing stars or knives or something at the guys. It's a good scene. And it starts off the movie with a real punch. So here's him and his goons. I don't know what's going on with the face of his buddies. This guy's got like a metal jaw, and the other guy's got like a bunch of flesh like pulled down in front of his face. It's supposed to be making them look nasty, but it just kind of looks silly. And so they get captured, right? Canary, the lady on the right, gets captured by Richard Lynch, and his name's like Kador. He's going to be your asshole for the movie. He captures the two, he grabs the two boys. One of the boys bites off two of his fingers, and you need your fingers, so that's detrimental to him, and that makes him pissed. But she promises to go with him as long as they don't kill the boys. So he still captures the boys, and here they are here, and he makes them work in these rock mines, busting rocks for all their lives, pretty much, until they're, who knows, 20 some years old. And it makes their bodies absolutely massive. These guys are big meatheads, and they call them barbarians. And I was like, they were part of this troop, and then they lived in a rock quarry, busting rocks and carrying rocks. How are they barbarians? So again, the barbarian's name is very flung around, just very loose with these films. But he's got a gaggle of Richard Lynch does of turds. He's got this lady Lynch. I mean, he's got this lady China, and Dirt Master is his name. That's an actor that you've probably seen in a lot of movies. And they have captured Canary, and they're trying to find out the whereabouts of the ruby. The ruby was given to a guide in the battle, and he ran off with the ruby. And so she's keeping the whereabouts of it not known. There she is, captured there. And he keeps her in a cage, like in this harem of other women. Most of them are topless, or a good bit of them are topless. But for some reason, she's in a cage, and she's been there for like ever since they were captured, ever since they were boys. Whatever. And they occasionally like whip at her and tell her to tell them where the ruby is. And so they get big, and as they're getting bigger, they get whipped and attacked by these guys in helmets. So Richard Lynch's big plan is, I'm not going to kill them, they're going to kill each other. So they make them hate the person in the helmet that's beating their ass. And then finally, once they're absolutely massive beasts, we'll throw them in this fighting arena, give them the opposite helmets, and they'll hate the helmet, give them a weapon, go kill the guy that's been beating your ass all this time. Well, of course, during the fight, their helmets come off, and they go, oh, you're my brother. These guys are like New Jersey lunkhead, meathead dudes, but they're fun. They're charismatic. I actually really enjoy them. This is a funny movie. It's got some funny scenes, and it's not extremely funny. I mean, you're not going to like just, go nuts on the floor, but it doesn't take itself very seriously at all. They're absolutely massive beasts, muscle-wise. They've got a bunch of sheen on them. They're fun. They're fun characters, right? And so there they are after they escape. They see that Canary's still alive. They run off into the forest. They try to find the remnants of their kind of group. They're called like Ragniks or something like that, Ragniks. And the troop from all those years ago are still around, kind of hanging around, I guess. I guess we'll just stay here. We don't have that ruby. We could use it still. I don't know. I guess we don't have the power of it. And so they meet up with a girl who's been captured. They're about to be hung. And through the use of extreme strong neck muscles, they're able to bust out of their the rope that's going to hang them. So they need weapons, right? They got this girl with them. She's fairly charismatic. So they go to this like cave that's full of people, just absolutely crammed full of people. It's like a tavern. They need to find the whereabouts of where these weapons are. They go and there's a bit of a brouhaha in there. Of course, there's a lot of fighting in this movie. I'll give it that. A lot of fighting. They find these ancient weapons in this like tomb. It's actually pretty cool. The weapons are kind of gold and gaudy. They do some goofy stuff back and forth where I don't want the axe. Give me the sword. I don't want the sword. Give me the axe. It's supposed to be funny. And there's the girl there. There's a monster that attacks them. It's kind of like a werewolf monster. It's quickly put down. So we've got a monster. There's one. It's a werewolf monster. Its hands like bust up out of the ground and grab them. But she puts it down with an arrow, and then they cut off its head, and then they kind of mock the body. It's a pretty funny scene. It's just goofy. But hey, it's a monster. I'll take it. So then you've got a lot of it's called the Forbidden Land or something like that. It's this like swampy area. So they've got to get the crystal, and the crystal is supposedly where this dragon is. And you've got China and the Dirt Man trying to rush there to try to get the ruby. They have got to go get the ancient weapons. I don't know. They could have gotten probably any weapons. These weapons didn't seem any different than any other weapons. So we've got that thing going again. So Dirt Master and China get killed by a dragon, right? So they show up. Now this set is really cool. Swampy, overgrown. It's got a lot of atmosphere about it. Whatever studio stage they've got this on. And they look cool going through it with their weapons, and she's there as well. Their little hang along, and they're staring up. They've got their weapons in this cool shot. They get attacked by these humanoid things. I don't know what they are. They don't show them good enough to see exactly what they are, but whatever. And then here comes the dragon. It looks like what you think it looks like on the screen right there on that shot. Make of it what you will. And they're going to have to fight this dragon that's already killed China and Dirt Master. I enjoy the name Dirt Master. And there's a good shot of this area. It looks badass, I think. There's a pit down below them, a lot of like bones and stuff around them. Just cool atmosphere. I think the shot looks cool. Look at this goofball. That's the face of the dragon. This mug, I don't know what's going on. It looks like some sort of animatronic good dragon that like was stuffed in a warehouse for like 40 years, and the prosthetics and stuff of it, the plastic just like melted off. He's got these goofball eyes. I don't know whether to laugh at him or what, or be terrified of him. He looks goofy as hell. But they're able to kill him and go inside his body. So you've got them covered in gore, and they find China, who's not been digested or chomped on. She's just got like some blood on her face. They get the gem. They get the ruby. They leave, and there's some cool sets. There's a waterfall, and it looks nice. They go through the waterfall to find this cave, this forbidden land. That's cool. I mean, it's got some neat, sets that are in this movie. Canary pretty much sacrifices herself, screams out for them to come as Richard Lynch is shown back up in the. So there's a lot of like going back and forth in this place, which is a little not great. They obviously wanted to use that set a bunch, but so unfortunately she dies. They come back to find her dead body, and then they have their standoff with Richard Lynch out in this valley. And they fight him, and guess who wins? I'll leave that up to you to decide. So, come to find out, the girl that's with them is actually also one of their troop, and she was also part of their troop back when the attack happened, and she kind of takes on the role of Canary. So, it ends, and that's the film. Now, I like The Barbarians. I think it's a good film. It's fun. It's goofy. It doesn't take itself seriously. These two guys are meathead, lunkhead putzes from New Jersey, it sounds like. But you know what? I would have loved to have seen more movies with these guys. If they could have made a couple more, going to different lands, fighting different monsters, different bad guys, I think they could have had a series here. Low budget, of course, but with just their goofball attitudes and their huge muscles wrecking stuff. The fight scenes are decent. They're not terrible. Because they're so big, they're able to really wreck some fools. A lot of picking up guys and throwing them. And I put this up on the higher end of the Sword and Sorcery list. So there we go. We've got 3 movies. We've got Sorceress, we've got The Warrior and the Sorceress, and we've got The Barbarians. I think The Warrior and the Sorceress is the worst of these 3. Still has some good qualities. Sorceress is still cool. It's got a great fight scene at the end. And then The Barbarians have got these 2 guys that are charismatic, funny, decent sets, couple monsters in it, a dragon who looks like an absolute goofball, some cool weapons, and their fun personalities. So there we go. Obscure Sword and Sorcery movies, number 4. Maybe there'll be a number 5 at some point, but I thank you for watching. And if you've liked these movies, let me know down in the comments and we can talk about it. So have a good one.